Hi, everyone, and happy Monday. It's the first Monday of March, and you might notice something a little different that we don't have Charlene on the screen. And so we're not with Charlene today. She's not with us because she's got a little bit of a migraine, but we are trucking on through because the message that we have is consistent, and being persistent is what's going to make a difference in your life and in your business. So I've done a lot of research and I'm trying to figure out how do we make sure that we're hitting the right mark when we do these LinkedIn lives and we're adding value, but not just any value, value that makes a difference to you and value that you want to actually sit and listen to. And so there's tons of coaches out there, tons of gurus, they're all doing, almost the same thing. Why this, why that, why not? And what I realized, I did a little bit of research over the weekend, and what I realized was that there's some key points that coaches need to hear and hear differently, no matter who says it. And it's all really about why are we in this game? Why do we become coaches? What are we here for? And each of us has a different think we have a different reason, but ultimately I boiled it down to one thing, and that's freedom. The concept of freedom. Now freedom in itself has different channels, different verticals, different aspects to it, right? There's freedom of time. We don't want to work work 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. We want that flexibility. Freedom of money. We want to be able to buy what we want to buy and like get a bigger earning potential, not be capped at a certain limit. Freedom of knowledge. We want to be able to share our perspectives and our thoughts on a particular topic or interest and share it with the world. And freedom of impact. We want to be able to watch somebody's life change, to be part of that process, and not be stuck in an administrative role or not be stuck in an executive leadership role where we're not making a direct impact to the people who really matter, our frontline, our consumers. And so those freedom categories, we all choose different freedoms as our priority, but ultimately we want all those freedom categories, or else we wouldn't have become a coach. We would have gone into restaurants, or we would have gone into nightclub promotion or something like that. But we're good at it. We have our skills, and those skills and our experience and our knowledge is what diverts us into that concept of wanting that freedom, and wanting that freedom using this methodology in this way. And thus here we are today. Now, wanting freedom and wanting to be a coach and getting customers is not enough, right? We can say, oh, we don't want to be that big, massive monster that is, our gurus that we see with big multi-million dollar enterprises and so on. We may say we don't want that. We want to be contained. We want to make sure that we're generating enough revenue to support our expenses. We want to generate enough money to have a happier quality of life and exist within those freedoms. But even that requires us to do more than just a little bit, more than just the basics, more than just the average. Because if you say, okay, I want 10 clients and that's going to feed me for a month, that's going to feed me for a year. Well, eventually one of those clients is going to leave and you have to have another set of clients, and you're going to have to get back to that 10. But a year later, there's more competition, there's more people doing what you're doing, there's more people sharing stories. So the competition becomes greater. And so, like it or not, we can't go into the coaching space. We can't become a coach with the idea of doing the bare minimum or just the basics. You've got to break through and get to a place where you're self-sustaining, and there are parts of your organization that you can depend on other people to do and depend on systems to do, so that you can have that freedom of time, which is that ability to take a 30-day vacation and not lose clients. Or you can have that freedom of money, the ability to buy your house or pay down your mortgage and not worry about, okay, what do I do after that? Like I have no money after that because I burned all of my money doing it, right? So those freedoms, those four categories of freedoms, they continue to exist beyond you becoming a coach, beyond you getting to your break-even point, beyond you thinking that you're happy. You've got to get to what's called enterprise, right? You've got to cross over into beyond that six figure and sit comfortably at a business cycle where you're sustaining yourself for the long term. But not just that, who wants to build a business and basically after the business is built say, all right, I did it for the past 20 years, I want to retire now, I'm just going to wrap up shop and walk away? I mean, that's your legacy. You've built all of these programs, you have all of these results, these people are now all happy with you, and you're just going to just pack up. why not transfer it to someone or sell it to someone who can continue the work that you're doing and continue the impact that you're making? But to do all of that, to share the business, to pass it on, and to make sure that you're properly sustained in the long term, that you have to look into five areas in your business to make sure that you are sustainable and you have longevity. Number one, recurring revenue systems. Okay. If you do not put recurring revenue in your business, what you'll find is that you have these hits. And then when you take that 30-day vacation, the hit drops. There's no more hit, right? There's no more money. Now you have to figure out how to scramble and re-engineer to get another round of hits in time for whatever expenses you have. But recurring revenue allows you to say, every month I'm collecting X number of dollars. So every month my operational expenses will be covered. And recurring revenue is pretty simple, right? If you have a $12,000 program for 4 months, for example, then you want to be collecting that money every single month for 4 months, right? You can break it up even where you have an upfront payment of maybe 2,000, and then you break the other 10,000 in 4 month increments, or you can break the entire 12,000 into 4 month increments. But either way, you know that for 4 months you're collecting revenue from that client, and that's recurring revenue. So you have at least 4 months of predictability. In month three, you start bringing in another recurring revenue client, so you have 4 more months of predictability. And so your financing continues to go in a repetitive cycle. Your expenses get covered, and you know what to predict every single month for your revenue. Number two, team leverage. You are a coach, but you are running a business. You're always running a business. And whether or not you realize it, if it's a small shop or a large shop, you still need to make sure that you have support to do these things, or else that freedom of time means nothing, because then you have to work while you're on that vacation. And when I say team leverage, it doesn't have to be where you're hiring W-2s. Although if you do decide to sell later on, you will need to have staff on board, somebody to take on the business or continue with the new owner so that they can progress and transition smoothly. But just going back to team leverage, this is a simple VA. This is a simple AI bot. This is a simple tool that you can use to continue operating your team. I use a really great AI bot. If you want a recommendation or referral to it, I can get you 1 month for free. It's called Marblism. And it gave me 6 AI tools, right? 6 of those AI tools. One handles my email and calendar. One does my SEO. One does my social media. It does all of my posts on all of my channels in social media. The other one does legal advice. The other one does my receptionist, in that she answers calls and sends it to me if it's important, or takes a message if it's not. And then there's an actual sales agent who does lead generation, scours the internet and pulls out the leads that I can then send to someone to call on, or I can call on myself. So that's a team. That's a 6-person AI team for $40 a month, right? So I have team leverage with that. I have a VA. That VA assists with things like video creation, research, engaging with clients, sending out contracts, following up on those contracts. So my admin is taken care of, and I'm not doing the repetitive tasks. So I can really focus on the vision, the strategic design, the business development, the strategic partnerships, that core part of the business. And so working and building out your team leverage becomes the next real important thing that you need to make sure that you have when you want to cross over from beyond 6 figures into a regular recurring business that allows you to be the CEO and not just a coach. The third thing is what's called back-end monetization. And what back-end monetization is making sure that you are not 100% coaching all the time to generate revenue, right? You are making sure that you are monetizing your assets, right? And that might be your course. So you delivering this course, you're a PowerPoint every night or every once a week, and you're showing folks this is what you do. Well, guess what? That's what we call in the coaching world done with you, right? I'm going to coach you and do it with you. Done for you is if I came into your business and I was your fractional CEO or CFO or COO. That's with me doing the job, doing the work of a functioning team member. Me coaching you is I'm working with you to get your skills honed and better and developed as a CEO, as a COO, so that you can grow your business yourself with my advice. But you can monetize that content for people who are like, you know what, I just want to read the content, read a book, like learn how you do it, and they can watch the videos. Well, that's done. Do it yourself, right? And do it yourself is allows people to just take the material that you were teaching and read it themselves. But selling that as a lower ticket item allows you to monetize your backend, allows you to monetize that which you are not doing so that you can generate more revenue. Things like your templates, things like ebooks that you've written, things like prior recordings in a library, perhaps that you want to give people a subscription to. All of those are ways for you to monetize your backend, bring in some revenue on a recurring basis, and keep your business running without you having to directly keep doing the coaching yourself. The number four thing is called brand licensing. Now, if you've done a really good job, and how do you define a really good job? I like to define a really good job by the number of testimonials and referrals that I've gotten, right? If I've done a really good job, my clients will be happy to do a video with me and let the world know. And they do. They will let the world know that, hey, Ty did this with me. I got this transformation, this result. You should use them too. Similarly, if you are getting a lot of referrals, people sending you business, that's them telling other people you've done a really good job, and so they should work with you as well. So that's how you know you've done a good job. If you are getting a robust amount of that feedback, a robust amount of those referrals, then you've got a brand. You've got a powerful and a strong brand. I will say, don't make that brand your name, right? Don't Dr. Ty Richardson the brand, because that becomes non-transferable. You can't really take that brand and sell it to somebody else because you are Dr. Ty Richardson. So think about a brand as the powerful achiever or high performing, persistent coaches, whatever the case is, but you have a brand that's now tied to the success of what you've been able to achieve. That brand can now be used by other coaches or other professionals or other authors or other speakers as you license your brand to them using your methodology. The easiest case here is another coach, right? A coach who's coming out of school who knows their coaching idea, but they want to be part of a bigger thing. You get to go into brand licensing and you get to license your results with them to them. It's something we can talk about in greater detail in an upcoming session, but think about brand licensing. And then the last and final thing to make sure that you are tipping over and you are getting to enterprise is this concept of do not be the bottleneck in your business. Don't be the reason that things have to get done or cannot get done. If you can remove yourself or at least let the business operate if you are absent, then you will be more successful. And that goes back to monetizing that back end. It goes back to team leverage. It goes back to making sure you have recurring revenue systems. Build the business where you are not the absolute end all be all. I know a lot of times in the coaching world, we have a little bit of ego. We put our name on the building. We decide, okay, we're going to be the thing. The reality is if you go back to why you got into this, freedom of time, freedom of money, it doesn't all depend on you being the name on the door. It does depend on you having a successful business that can operate without you. So don't be the bottleneck in your business. Make sure that the business will operate independent of you. And that's how you'll have a structured business, both for ongoing revenues, but more importantly, for you to pass it on later on, right? When you build a business, a standalone entity that can operate without you, that has revenue, recurring revenue, that has monetization strategies, that has a team, that becomes an asset. It becomes an entity unto itself. It no longer just becomes your income stream, your piggy bank. It becomes something of value, and that value then becomes something you can either sell or pass on or keep engaged. So with that, I want to encourage you guys to reach out if you want to learn more about how coaches cross over into um, from six figures into enterprise state. If you want to learn more about the coaching world and how coaching operates in general, I encourage you to come check us out at CoachCon.global. At CoachCon.global on March 24th and 25th this month, we actually have a recording session where we're going to be producing our third series of a CoachCon TV show. And that series is all about executive coaches. We want to bring executive coaches and help them go from corporate to coach or coach to enterprise, so that executive coaches can be better executive coaches. And so we have 6 amazing speakers all geared up, ready to go to walk you through what exactly they did, how they did it, what are some gaps in the market, things you could do differently. And you can sit down in the audience and just watch, right? It's not going to be conference format. It's going to be more of an audience recording where we're just kind of taping in the material, and then it's going to be turned into episodes. We encourage you to come check us out. Join us. You can be on a cameo spot. We're offering cameo spots to a few folks in the audience. So we're really excited and we look forward to having you there. Other than that, have an amazing week. You're going to see a little bit of change in how we do some of these LinkedIn lives because we really do want to build a stronger relationship with you and make sure that you're getting the tools you need as a coach to be the most successful coach you can be. All right. Have a great week, and we'll see you again next Monday.